This is Sound Experience, the show that explores the vast world of audio production through the experiences of our guests and the ears of your host, mixing engineer and producer Tim Dolbear.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Sound Experience, powered by Intertalk Radio, your voice of the music business. I am your host, Tim Dolbear, coming to you live from Eclectica Studios here in Austin, Texas. Want to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors real fast before we dive into all of the cool stuff we have planned for today. So give a shout out to the Blackbird Academy, hands-on training for studio and live sound. And you'll be hearing a lot about Blackbird Academy today because we have on one of their co-directors, so stay tuned for that part. And then Great River Electronics, give a shout out to them, as well as Source Connect by Source Element, which allows me to connect into the station in San Diego from my studio here in Austin, Texas. So I'm hoping you're having a good, busy week and you're able to do a lot of music right now, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying the shows. I'm getting a lot of email and comments and letters, and I'm really happy with the fact that you guys are liking this, and it's been a pleasure doing it, and I'm enjoying doing it, and I'm learning a lot too. So I'm hoping as I dive in deep with my questions that you're getting your questions answered too, because we all come from pretty much the same thing, and a lot of us are all wondering the same stuff when we talk to other professionals, how they're working and what their workflows are too. So coming up next week, we're going to have part 2 of our conversation with Craig Anderton. He was on last week, and we were talking about so many different facets of music production that we only hit about 1 or 2 points off of my entire sheet of questions. So Craig's going to be back on next week, so stay tuned for that. And then August 8th, we have on producer and engineer who worked with Jeffrey Osborne, George Duke, Miles Davis, Anita Baker, so many others. We have Eric Zobler on, and he's a hilarious guy. He's an awesome guy. He knows so much stuff so deeply into the recording process. You're not going to miss that. That's on August 8th. So without further ado, today we have on Kevin Becka, who is he's been an audio engineer for at least 30 years that I know of, and a musician. He's worked with George Benson, Kenny G, Quincy Jones, Michael Bolton, George Lynch, so many others. And now he's also the tech editor for Mix Magazine. Previously, he had been the tech editor on a couple different magazines. We'll hear about that also. And he's the co-director, and I would say the mad professor at Blackbird Academy. Because every time I'm there, I get blessed by being able to go and talk to the students about once every 3 months. So once per semester as it kind of rolls around for each group kind of thing. I see each group once, and I always get to see him there, and he's always knee-deep in the hoopla in the studio, cables everywhere, stands everywhere, students everywhere, and they're not just learning out of a book, reading it on paper, they are diving in deep. So we're going to ask him a lot about the Blackbird Academy and that type of thing. So welcome to the show, Kevin Becka.
Hey, Tim, how you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm doing good. How does today find you?
Oh, it's great. I just got back from school, and we got a new group in, so we got that going on, and we got a summer camp coming up next week where a dozen kids, high school age, are going to come in and get the Blackbird experience. So we do 3 of those every summer, cool. And they always sell out, so those are a really big draw for us, and we love doing them.
Are they on special areas or kind of an overview?
No, see, what we do is we bring in a dozen kids, and then on day 1, we just give them an overview of the whole facility and the studio and what, different surfaces are used, and we take them in the mic locker and show them that incredible thing, and then we talk about consoles and recorders and Pro Tools and instruments, and we take them up to the drum room and Blackbird at Blackbird and show them all the instruments we have on hand and that kind of thing. So we just kind of do that, and then we'll start setting up for the session the next day. And for instance, this last group, we put together a band and basically did some recording with them. And then the second day, we bring in an all-pro band. Like we had Billy Noble on keys, who plays with Tim McGraw's band, and then we had Audley Freed, who plays with Sheryl Crow, and we had a bunch of other players, Steve Mackie on bass, and anyway, we had an all-star kind of a Nashville session band come in and basically talk to the campers about the Nashville number system and what goes on in their day-to-day work. And then they cut a few songs, and then we will kind of do some overdubs with the campers after the band leaves and get, show them how that works. And then day 3, we do break them down into 2 groups of 6, and we do a mixing competition between 2 rooms at Blackbird, usually some of the bigger rooms. And then we do that, awesome. And then we the parents come in, and we have a guest speaker. Like we've had Dan Huff in, we've had a couple of great songwriters from Nashville come in, and we've had just anybody we can find that's around that, which is not hard to do at Blackbird. Really right. Quality people to talk to them about the industry, and then the parents come in, and we play their mixes and that kind of thing. Day 3, and then there's on this particular camp, it's a 3-day recording, 2-day live. So we take them up to our live school up there north of town and take them through a kind of a workflow up there, live cool. Performance, et cetera, et cetera.
You guys have obviously you have the 2 different sections, the recording and live. I've only been there teaching at the recording part of it. Can you expand on the live? Because I know every time I'm there, I hear more about it coming along and what's going on with it. Can you expand into that?
Yeah. So as far as I know, it's the only school that has a dedicated 6-month live curriculum. So it's all live, and of course there's some recording in there as it applies to live, but we are across the parking lot from Claire Global, which is a world-renowned and very large live sound company based out of Lititz, Pennsylvania. And John McBride actually is in charge of the Nashville facility here, which became actually his former company he owned became part of Claire's kind of umbrella, fell under Claire's umbrella. Okay. So he came in, and he's in charge of that. So Claire guys are always coming across the parking lot to teach, and our students are going across the other way to experience the shop, and they work, do work over there and see what the workflow's like. And then we've placed a number of students, some of our better grads, have gone up to Lititz and trained with Claire. In fact, there was Rachel Rossi, who graduated last January. She went up and trained and is working for Claire, and her first gig with Claire was to go to Cuba with the Rolling Stones as a PA tech. So, an incredible way to start your career, and I don't know how you follow that, but There you go.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Which often brings the question of, in a school like that, you're getting exposed to the best of the best of the best after the school, being placed in so many different levels and so many different areas of career. I mean, you could end up working, running the sound AV department at Courtyard Marriott, for instance. Sure. So it's such do you run into a lot of challenges with that because of the fact that, do students get the attitude of, I can't work unless I'm on this Neve console?
No, because we give them a reality check right away. I mean, day 1, first of all, we have very low numbers. We just by the nature of our size, we can't do. Mm-hmm. We can only do 120 recording students a year. So, as opposed to other schools that are in the many of hundreds or sometimes thousands of students, especially with an online curriculum, et cetera, et cetera. So, we have a responsibility to uphold our standards just because of what we are and who we are. So we vet very carefully. We're not exclusionary, but you have to take a test. You have 2 letters of recommendation. You have a personal interview. You write an essay. And we're very careful that, whoever's coming to learn is coming for the right reasons, So if you're not right for the program and we're not right for you, then it's honestly not a good fit, and you're wasting your time and your money, So as opposed to let's say you had many seats to fill, and you're more of a sales-driven kind of a thing, like a cruise ship mentality, I call it. So, So anyway, we're very careful about that. So when we come in day 1, we tell them, attitude is 99% of the gig. We're going to train you in audio, but what's more important is that you have the right mindset and motivation, because then you can work anywhere. So on any kind of gear.
Absolutely.
So we stress that from day 1. And then a lot of students already have an idea where they want to go, which has already been discussed with us. They're interested in staying in Nashville, or they want to go back to their hometown, or they want to work for their church, or they want to do, there's all kinds of things. And then students, as they go through the program, they kind of fine-tune what their idea of their future is, So, and we help them with that too. And we there's so many resources here in town that we have just in the Berry Hill area. There's 50 or 60 studios that we can place them or give them a lead to go and do an internship. And Mark's always visiting all kinds of places and making contacts and talking to people, and like yourself that comes in. So there's all these great things that are happening on a number of levels. So we've actually had really a high success rate in placing students, and everybody loves, first of all, they don't want to leave when they go. And they get a lot of help from Karma and the other people we have, Ron and Blair Gallimore, who's actually in charge of placing our students now, and she's doing a great job and that kind of thing. So we've got a great staff. We're a startup, and where everyone's really dedicated and does a number of jobs. And it's not you've been there, it's not a huge place.
Oh, yeah.
And the students that come in, they're all into it. It's really amazing. And what we're finding out with these summer camps, too, is that, what John McBride tells the students in the summer camp is that, if you find out today or 3 days in this camp, which is, just taking 3 days of your life, that you don't want to do
we're running out of
camp,
time on this. Here, Kevin, hold on to that, and we'll come right back to that after this break. We're out of time. Sound Experience, we'll be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on InterTalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on InterTalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. Vin Village connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. Vin Village is where wine lovers connect.
This is Sound Experience, the show that explores the vast world of audio production through the experiences of our guest and the ears of your host, mixing engineer and producer Tim Dolbear.
Hey, welcome back to Sound Experience, powered by Intertalk Radio, your voice of the music biz. We're talking with Kevin Becka. Kevin, you were just talking about how the students qualify and have direction when they come in, but it does change a little bit as they're going. And you were starting to talk about the summer session.
Yeah, the summer camps that we do, and they're usually 3-day recording camps, and sometimes a 3-day and a 2-day live camp. Anyway, the students come in, and what we tell them is that if you discover through this, short little bit of time that you're going to be at Blackbird, that you never want to be in another recording studio again, you've done yourself a great service, because a lot of people just don't get the chance to see the high end before they jump into a 4-year program or even our program or any program for that matter, any kind of educational. And it's the dollar commitment and time commitment is another thing. So how this has worked for us is how we should break it down is that we've been able to really get the right people into the program, and we've had great experiences with these people and all the students that have graduated and the current students and also the summer campers who are just over the moon with being at Blackbird. It's just a great thing.
Absolutely. It's always a great bunch, and I'm always, really encouraged when I talk to them, because I've talked at other schools and have not had that kind of a experience. And the experience I always have there with the students is really, really good. That's why I keep coming back. So what are some of the preconceived notions and people that are coming up in the through schools that you've met and through your work with Mix Magazine and others? What are some of the preconceived notions that a lot of the students and younger engineers have coming into the industry?
Well, I think, like I said, we're very upfront about what the state of the industry is, and we tell them right away that live sound, you have a better chance in live sound of getting a job than you do in recording. There's just no doubt about it, just because of the way the business is flipped upside down since kind of started with Napster and how music has become more of a commodity than that's a product of a live experience than the other way. It used to be that a record sale would drive a concert ticket. Now a concert ticket drives a download, So, and there's just all this kind of back and forth about how our writers getting paid and how our performers getting paid. And if you're the top, if you're a Taylor Swift or a Keith Urban, of course, you don't have a problem. But, for the person who's not, you have to be kind of be the master of everything, So you have to be your own promoter. You have to track your own downloads. There's a thing called DistroKid now, where you can go and sign up for an account, and they basically provide a tool where you can look at your downloads and track them, and you can pay writer splits, and you can pay even covers. A piece of the pie will go to the original writer if you're doing a cover and that kind of thing.
Cool.
So you got to become your own everything. Promoter. There's another guy that. His son came through the program. His name's John Platalero, and he does a lot of the IT for Ticketmaster, and he's working on a new tool that will allow promoters and venues and to interface directly through an app. So those kind of things. For a band to have somebody working on the side for you, and it's paid through the channels. It's all about micropayment now. So. All those kind of things just make you better at what you do, and you can't expect to be signed like a Bon Jovi or a famous band of yore would have been signed and given a chunk of cash and that kind of thing. That's just it was rare anyway in the day, and now it's even more rare. So we're very upfront about where the industry is and the fact that if you're in a live sound situation, that you could work for a church, you could work for, like you said earlier, an AV department for a hotel. You could do, all kinds of things. And we're finding that the students that do the best realize that it's going to be a situation where you have a number of jobs probably. So, for instance, I have a student named Ciel that he works for Charlie Peacock, who's a fantastic producer and a songwriter and an artist, and he does some work for Charlie, and he also works for Charlie's son as to help him with his live sound and road experience. So when he's booking, he's kind of a production manager for him. And then he also has a studio of his own with a couple other students, grads from Blackbird, and they do work there. And then he also is a waiter at a restaurant, which, of course, he's trying to phase that out, and he's having more and more success as he goes along. But, you got to realize that one gig is probably not going to happen. It's going to be a number of things, and then as you spread your name around and spread the fact that you can do this fantastic work, and you can, you have worked with the Charlie Peacocks and the people like that of the world, that like any gig, when I started out, I was at a time when there were no schools, and I was kind of mentored and worked in a studio in L.A., and I started working on major league projects, luckily for me, but that's not everybody's experience. So I got to sit next to a bunch of great engineers and learn what I know through them. Mick Zazowski and Umberto Gatikas, and watch great producers like Quincy Jones and David Foster and, Eric Zobler. I was Eric Zobler's assistant. That was one of my gigs in the day.
Oh, cool.
So it's like,
awesome.
And we worked with George Duke. They would come to our studio, and this was probably in 1990, right around there, 89, 90. And George had a studio at his house, but he would come down to our place to do some mixing, and Eric came along, of course. So I got to know Eric very well, and we're really great buddies still. Him and Jerry Palumbo have been to my home and stayed here, and vice versa, and we just love each other. So anyway, these guys I've known forever. So that, at that time, I was lucky enough to be associated with those kind of people. So my point is that, as these students leave the program, and we could hook them up with, we've got a guy working with Rick Rubin. We've got three students or four students over at East West working for Candace over there, and I'm sure they're seeing an incredible amount of talent come through there. That they're, and their attitude, like we say, you're just in the right place, and you have a great attitude. Somebody's going to pick up on it and pick up on you and take you places. So that's the way it works.
Yeah, attitude really is everything, because that trickles down into everything. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to serve the customer, which is the thing that puts the money into the studio so it can exist to begin with? I have people call to intern here at Eclectica Studios all the time, or often. And the main thing that I tell them, yes, absolutely, you need to contact me every Monday and get the listing of what's going on during the week and this and that. It's up to you to find out the schedule and come in. And pretty much everyone that's ever interned for me has just fallen down on this. Maybe contact me one week and that's it. And it's all about follow through. If you're going to be serious, that's great.
Yeah.
But
No, and it's.
And I learned it was. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I think we have a little delay here. It's confusing us, but
we do.
But what I was going to say is that
okay.
I tell my students that if you're there standing at the end when everybody else either didn't answer their phone or turned down a gig, then it's you. And if you have the right attitude and all this stuff, many of the best gigs I ever got, I was second or third choice. So it just the way it worked out. Like when I moved out of L.A., for instance, it was a product of the '94 earthquake. So basically, I went through a traumatic time with that and lost a house and all this kind of crazy stuff happened. So at the time, the best move for me was to move away, which broke my heart because I was, my career was taking off and I worked on some really great projects and starting to get some great gigs. But the town fell apart and my situation was tenuous at best. And so anyway, I moved to Arizona, and that's where I had come from originally 18 years prior. So I started just thinking like what I could do, So I worked for a graphic designer and started doing graphic design. And it's funny how things work because at the time I thought, man, I'm doing this because I need the money, and I'm not. It's art. It's kind of artistic. We were doing like engine diagrams for LA Signal and these kind of crazy things. But I was learning Photoshop, and I was learning Adobe Illustrator and all these kind of visual things, And at the time, I thought, I'm going to get good at this. I've got a great attitude. I'm going to come to this gig and do the best I can do. And then not too much later, I started writing articles for Recording Magazine with Nick Batsdorf, and another magazine, Pro Audio Review, asked me to be editor. Just out of the blue, I got a call one day. And I said, wow. I said, are you sure you got the right guy? Because I never went, I never graduated from college. I'm a good writer, and I love audio gear. And they said, well, we've been watching the reviews you've been doing for recording, and we think you can be an editor. And I was like, okay, all right. And they said, the only thing is you have to be willing to move to Washington, D.C. So I said, I'll go. Absolutely, I'll go, And I was the third guy in line. They couldn't get somebody to take the gig. So and I moved to D.C., and I started being editor of Pro Audio Review. And then a year later, they bought Audio Media in Nashville, and I loved D.C., but it wasn't a place I was going to stay, So I said, man, I've always wanted to live in Nashville, and it's the type of town you really have to go with a gig, you know what I mean? You just can't, show up. It's really highly competitive. It's one of those things. When I was younger, I did that when I went to L.A., but I would never do that now, So
exactly. Okay, coming up on a break. Hold that thought. We'll dive into your Nashville years here after this break. So this is Sound Experience, powered by Intertalk Radio. We'll be back in a minute. I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
This is Sound Experience, the show that explores the vast world of audio production through the experiences of our guests and the ears of your host, mixing engineer and producer Tim Dolbear.
Hey, welcome back to the second half of Sound Experience, powered by Intertalk Radio. We are talking with Kevin Becka. Now, we're with you, and you've just moved from D.C. to Nashville to start work, or in addition, they had just bought the second magazine at that point.
Yeah, so it was Imus Publishing, and Imus owned a number of things, including Radio World and TV Tech and a lot of magazines. Mm-hmm. And they bought a UK-based magazine called Audio Media, and they needed an editor because the editor they had left to go work at Pro Sound News. So that was Frank Wells. So when Frank left, they were having a hard time getting somebody. And like I said, my best gigs have always been when I was the second or third in line. So they'd ask two other guys, and they weren't. So I volunteered, and they said, "Well, you just moved here. You want to go?" I said, "Man, I'd love to go. I'd love to go live in Nashville." So I just jumped at it, and I moved here for the first time, and I worked for Audio Media, and I was the editor, and we had a great time and put out a bunch of great editorial content. And then through like 9/11 and the internet and various things, it kind of collapsed print media, and they closing the office. And at the time, I was set to take this trip to go to Skywalker Ranch on a press junket. And Robin Hoffman, who was a PR lady for Neve, I told her, I said, "Look, Robin, I can't do this because I'm no longer editor," and they closed the office. And she goes, "Hang tight. I'm going to make a call. I'll call you right back." So call me right back. She goes, "You know what? We're still going to bring you to Skywalker, and so you can network and maybe find a new gig or something." So I thought that was like one of the best things that ever happened to me. Yeah, very sweet. So I went to stayed overnight at Skywalker, and at the time, Tom Kenny, like he is now, is the editor of Mix, and he approached me about being. They had just lost their tech editor, so he said, "Do you want to be tech editor?" So I jumped at that chance, and then at the same time, I got an offer from another school, or a school, called the Conservatory of Recording Arts in Arizona, and I went to work for them as a director and an instructor. So, and I hung out there for 10 years, and then met up with John McBride, and he told me what he wanted to do, and I was excited about that, building a program from the ground up, especially at the likes of Blackbird, So I took another chance and moved my family here, and my wife loves Nashville, and I love Nashville, and it's fantastic. So
very, very cool. In this teaching role that you're doing, you are more hands-on in the studio, I have a feeling, than ever before.
Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you something. What I like about this gig is that I'm recording or around audio gear that's the best in the world every day. So and not only that, with our situation with how we built this curriculum around, we have a program and we have curriculum and we have a very strict way of how we have students, even hook up a tube mic and things like that. So there's a lot of training that goes on, and we've designed that. So and there's a lot of testing and Pro Tools proficiencies and all the stuff that goes with a school. But once we feel the students are ready, then we bring in bands, and we bring in some of the best bands in Nashville, best musicians, and also guest engineers. So we've had Ken Scott in as a guest, Nick Lynx, producer engineer. We've had Mills Logan. We've had Toby Wright. Sorry, Toby Wright, and we've had you name it.
You've had Ross Hogarth.
Yeah, Ross Hogarth, exactly. Ross came through, and it's just incredible to watch and I'm sitting there in the room, and I'm taking notes and putting them into my books, and that the students get, and also working that stuff into the curriculum. So it's growing as we go, and John McBride, that's another one I should mention too, because he's a fantastic engineer. He comes in all the time. It's great seeing him work because he takes the whole. It's funny because we've had Jakir King and Vance come in too, but those guys have all come from live. so once again, we get back to the kind of how live and recording works. And one of the stories I should tell you is about a student who came from the UK to come to school, and then he ended up, he came to the recording program, but he ended up getting some live gigs right out of school, and he went on the road with a few bands, and now he's doing live gigs and recording on the live gigs, which he then mixes for the band, and it's like a whole service, And even Eric, when you talk to Eric, ask him about his live experience. Eric Zobler, I'm talking about, because
yes.
In the last probably 7 or 8 years, he went out on the road with George and went to Prague, and there's some really great recordings he got and he mixed from that experience. So there's a lot of that going on where you get this kind of cross-pollinating between recording and live. And everybody I talk to says, I wrote my column in Mix a few months ago about this, like live sound takeaways. In fact, it was 2 months ago, about these engineers that what they learn from live and how they bring it to recording. So, and it works both ways. So it's a great thing now because of the way the industry's working. Some students actually come through both programs here. We have 3 students now that are going to do it that are currently enrolled. So they'll be in the program at Blackbird for a year, and they'll come out with this incredible education that they can take anywhere and work. So.
Yeah, I cut my teeth in live, and I tell every student or person who's coming up through the ranks, I said, if you want to get better in the studio, go volunteer at a church, because churches need sound guys. Not everyone can afford to pay them, so they need volunteers. And then you're working in a very hostile situation trying to run sound, meaning not that church is hostile, but that the rooms are usually not designed to sound right. They're usually they look great, and they're usually very echoey. So you have a hostile acoustic room. You also have volunteers, not to put them down, but amateurs playing instruments. So your sound source is a challenge also. But the equipment is usually really good. So you have this kind of an interesting palette to work on. It's a great way to cut your teeth and also soak up some word, which is a good thing. So I'm always preaching that, you could say. I came up through working at Miller Sound in Los Angeles, doing concert in the park. One week we would have a mariachi band. The next week was the Marine Orchestra or band, and then the next was a 50s doo-wop. And it's just the exposure of all the different sound sources and working with them was just amazing.
Yeah, and you got to make your decisions. You got to make your decisions very quickly. So that's one of the things we teach. In fact, I was just doing this last week, where I sat. We only have 5 students in a class, so I can really cover a lot of material. But we were in Studio F, and I put up a song, and I said, "Okay, you get 1 pass to put up a mix." And we kind of ran over like how the mechanics work and the best way to approach that. But once I laid out the approach, though, I sat back and I said, "Okay, and we're going to burn these mixes, and we're going to play them all back afterwards and see what we all think." So they get 1 pass. It's like, a 3.5-minute song, and that's like a live sound guy who just got through sound check maybe 3 in the afternoon, and he comes in at night, and the room's packed, and it sounds completely different than it did, 3 hours ago. And you've got to, within a song or a half a song, you got to get it together, because the crowd's there, and nobody wants to hear, anything but the best, So, and that's, you watch a guy like John McBride work. I was lucky enough to see them at the MGM in Vegas, and same kind of thing where, he's really kind of, really moving around the first half of the first song, and then all of a sudden it gets really sounding great and comfortable, and then everything kind of sits there. He makes his moves. He knows the songs. He's singing along with her, and he's smiling and having a great time. So, he's a real pro. That's great.
That's what it's about. He's having fun. Because not many people get into this business because they're looking to get rich. Or if they are, they don't last very long at that point.
Yeah. Well, John always tells everybody that, the best advice you give anybody is to marry a rock star.
Yeah, personal experience probably taught him that one, huh?
Yeah. So
he's an awesome guy. I love hanging out with him. I have to have him on the show at some point. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we have about a minute and a half left of this segment. What's new at Mix Magazine as far as new, weird, interesting gear and trends in manufacturer development production?
This could be a whole other show. So I was thinking about this today, and I do my column every month, so I'm always looking for trends and things like that. And then I'm also in charge of reviewing and assigning reviews for all the reviews that go into the magazine. And then I put together the new product section, so that's kind of my gig there. So I'm always kind of coming up with, or coming across great stuff. And we can get into more depth after the break. But there's just fantastic new microphones and speakers and software going on, and I'm always learning, new things, almost daily through my contacts and the manufacturers. So I don't know if we want to get into it now, if you got more time, but before the break. I'm just kind of getting the hang of this now, trying to anticipate the music, etc. So I'll just give you a teaser.
Exactly.
About 45 seconds. So for instance, I think one of the better mics that has been released in the last probably 5 years is this Audio-Technica 5045. It's a side-addressed rectangular capsule mic, and it is phenomenal. I mean, I can't say enough about it. I used it for the first time, and I put it, to the test on anything I could think of, and it stood up and acted like a pro. And it's got incredible characteristics.
Tube or solid state?
Yeah, it's solid state.
Is it tube?
It's tube.
Solid state.
Yeah,
okay.
It's solid state, and it's side address, and it's rectangular capsule like the Pearl mics. I don't know if you're familiar with Pearl. It's a Swiss company. So anyway, there's that music.
Okay, cool. Yes, so the 5045 from Audio-Technica, and we'll jump into other things when we get back after this break. So we'll be right back with Sound Experience.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
This is Sound Experience, the show that explores the vast world of audio production through the experiences of our guests and the ears of your host, mixing engineer and producer Tim Dolbear.
Hey, welcome back to Sound Experience, powered by Intertalk Radio, your voice of the music biz. We're talking with Kevin Becka, and I wanted to say about the reviews in Mix Magazine, because so many people have asked me about this stuff before. Because I've written reviews for Mix for 4 years or so. They always ask, they tell you what to say. They only post positive stuff, this and that, counting all magazines. But as far as Mix Magazine goes, Kevin, as my boss, my editor for doing these reviews, never once said anything about how I should write it, how it should be approached. I wrote a bad review on a product once, and you emailed and asked me, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have the recordings of it. This is exactly it." And unless there's something wrong with it, which turned out there was something wrong with it, but you were going to print it as is, and it was scathing.
Yeah. So, it's funny because I tell all my writers the same thing: is that look, it's got to be fair, but it's got to be truthful. So
yes.
Sometimes you run across something that does one thing and it just does it poorly and it's not ready for market. And in that case, I'll go back to the manufacturer and I'll say, look, here's the deal. This thing it's not ready. You got to work on it. It's just not there. And I'm not going to, I only have 4 reviews a month, not a lot of space. So I would rather spend the review space on something I can really tell people, and I'm not going to trash a product that's not ready just because the company maybe thought it was there and not there. I'll give them a shot, So because I don't want to go out there and talk smack about something that's probably has a shot, and I don't want to be that person who makes that designation. But I will, I've done it, and I've really made some people angry, and I'm saying, look, here's the thing. This is what it does, and I like this about it, but I didn't like that about it. I don't think it does that very well, in my experience. So that goes for me or any of my writers. But that said,
that's cool.
There's some, and there's always something good and something not so good about almost every product. I mean, it's rare that I'll find something, every few months. So we do a pro and a con for, products. So, and I'll say, okay, it did this, but actually this, it could be anything from fit and finish to how a knob works, or in software it could be like something it said it did, that I thought, it might be a compressor, but it's not a great de-esser, and I'm not having that experience. So, and there's other parts of products that the company doesn't even talk about that is probably the best part of the product that I enjoy the most. So I'll just say, hey, you know what? I know this is an EQ. Like, for instance, the BX Digital makes a really great EQ that has a de-esser in it that's real simple, but it's a really great de-esser, and it's full rate, it's full bandwidth, too, so you can dial it in. I used it to take woof out of guitars and toms and all kinds of things, It's just not typical for a de-esser, but that kind of thing. So, but there's just some great, there's so many great products now. It's like I've been doing this since since probably 1997, writing reviews, and so almost 20 years, and there's so many great products. It's incredible. And especially the stuff you need the most, like speakers. Like they've been out for a while, but the JBL LSR 308s and the 305s are fantastic speakers. And there's a guy named Peter Chaikin who works for JBL, and he's made it his mission to bring JBL back to where it was. When I lived in LA, and the very first one I moved there in the 70s, that JBL 4311 was just a mainstay. It was one of those speakers that was always found almost in every studio. So, and then they kind of fell out of, through various manufacturers manufacturing decisions and decisions by executives at JBL that kind of fell out of the studio business. And Peter has brought them back, and they make that M1, which is a great mastering speaker. It's got these breakthrough technology, and they have some fantastic things up there. You know, how they test speakers is incredible up at JBL. So they have a very random and blind way of testing speakers in front of a crowd that is incredible. So you know, there's companies that are doing it right, and JBL is one of them. And then you get companies that bring up a new product that is kind of a hybrid of things that have been around, like, for instance, Revoice Pro from Synchro Arts is a software that contains not only a great tuning algorithm, but also the typical alignment tool that's been in their other product called Vocal Line. So that thing is really great, and it's become my favorite way to tune vocals now, and I use it in my classes, and I just think it's fantastic. So, and then, like I said, that Audio-Technica mic, and then I just reviewed the Burrow Mothership, which is great, and got to play with that for a while, and then I'm a big Focal fan, so I had the Trio 6BE in, which is a three-way that you can actually focus down to two-way, and made that review. And just, you know, I mean, I can go on and on and on, but I just love gear, you know, and it's always, you know, one of the most more fun mics I'm playing with right now is a Solomon Low Freak. It's a kind of a take on the Subkick from Yamaha, which is no longer available. But it's got a smaller speaker in it, so it's a little tighter transient response, and also it's got a built-in pad. So, you know, typically with either a homemade, speaker as a mic or a Subkick, is the level coming out of that thing, because you got this honking magnet in there, is so hot that you have to either put an inline pad or try to take it into a line input, and that just gives you more work to do. And, you know, I'm not averse to work, but if this company saw that problem and took care of it, so now you just plug this thing in, and it's ready to go, and it's kind of a cool thing. So I'm playing with that a lot, and you know, just having fun.
What's one of your favorite go-to pieces of gear going back throughout your lifespan of career?
Oh boy, you know, I'll tell you one. Okay, so when one of the guys that mentored me and I got to assist for a number of years actually was Mick Kozowski. So he moved into our studio, Blackbird, not Blackbird, of course I work at Blackbird now, Lighthouse Quarters in North Hollywood. But he moved in and he pretty much mixed there for a couple of years. And I was the only, we had one room, I was the only employee, so I was the only assistant. So I kind of became his assistant, you might say. But he turned me on to Eventide SP 2016 Reverb. He had two of them, and he used them on every song he ever mixed, at least the time I was with him. And I think he still uses it. And then it is an incredible sounding reverb. I bought one from Mark Lynette that I still have, and it's just an amazing reverb. Blackbird, of course, has four of them. So I go and you know, tap one of those when I need to and go through, and I still, you know, the settings that Mick used that I, you know, kind of stole his ideas like you do when you work with somebody like that. But he used it on drums and vocals, and it's just an incredible thing. Now, they make a plug-in, and they also, Tony Agnello, the designer, made a modern version that has digital outs, and it's in single rack space. But I still think, and I think Mick believes this too, that the original still has something that none of the other stuff has. So it's just an incredible piece.
That's very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Man, I'll tell you what, this hour went so fast, and I'm just got so much more to say. You got to have me back. That's all there is to it.
Great. I will be emailing you to set up another time, because we just got into the gear talking part of it, and we could go on gear forever, which is good.
No, so we could go in any number of directions. So, you know, and I appreciate it. Thanks, Tim.
You know it. I really appreciate you being here. All right. Well, that's it for another show of Sound Experience. Remember, you can get in touch with us through the intertalkradio.com/sound experience, which is probably where you're at, website. Or you can reach out to me directly at timdolbear.com. Look forward to hearing from you through Facebook. Remember to check my blog. We finally finished the Sony MCI JH110B rebuild, so all of the information now is on the blog, and it turned out stunning. Anyway, check that out. Drop me a line, and I really appreciate you spending this time with us listening to all we have to say. So now, go make some music.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on InterTalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on InterTalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit mozeguitars.com or their Facebook page. MOZEguitars.com, 619-698-1185.